Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. So the webinar is focusing on the Bytes Cloud Connectivity Platform that is powered by Equinix. So presenting the webinar today, we have Durench from Equinix and then also Matt Compton from Bytes.
Thank you everyone for joining. We are holding this joint webinar with Bytes, one of our partners. What I would like to talk about right now to start with, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on Equinix and how kind of it started and how we, where we started from and where we are kind of heading towards. And then from there, which is going to along the lines of interconnection, scaling of the internet, the digital economy, digital supply chain, how we fit in that supply chain, and what we're going to continue from there is some of the pillars that's building our interconnection ecosystem and the digital supply chain. So Equinix as an organization right now, we are in the middle of the digital supply chain, and we are enabling our customers and partners like Bytes to benefit from this ecosystem. So starting with that, just to give you an idea where we're going, founded in 1998, the main goal when we started as Equinix was to help the internet scale. As you can see there's some, you know how we kind of came up with the name. The main idea was getting networks in a neutral place where they can connect to each other and exchange data. So this was how kind of what we started as an internet exchange, as a network-to-network exchange place, a neutral place where networks can come together. Of course, this started leading to what we, started seeing the seeds of digital economy. The building blocks of digital economy basically started requiring interconnection, which means it's starting with some of the e-commerce and content providers. Once they realize the networks are in one place, the drive and to the scale their business, to their, again, this was the beginning of probably the digital economy when we started at the time, was they wanted to get closer to these interconnection points, to these network points. So what you can see there from left to right is where we started, getting networks together in our data centers and connecting them to each other for different reasons, for cost savings, latency, and scale and performance and data capacity point of view. To scale the internet led to attracting e-commerce and content companies to our data centers, which wanted to be close to these networks. So basically, you see the magnetism starting from there, from the beginning, which from there grew into electronic trading platforms. So we started attracting some of the biggest exchanges, financial exchanges in the world to our data centers, because they wanted to be close to the networks. They wanted to be close to the to each other, as exchanging financial transactional information, trading information, and doing these transactions. So this created financial ecosystems, and then from there we started seeing different ecosystems growing in our data centers because of this magnetism that's what's happening. From there, of course, we start seeing the clouds. The clouds was probably one of the biggest catalysts in this digital economy, digital supply chain, digital transformation everybody's talking about. So once the clouds came on board as well, we suddenly started seeing a momentum in this interconnection, what we call interconnection, which is all the connections that happens within a data center, private connections, secure connection. We started seeing content, the networks, clouds, and some of the initial websites, the web service providers. They're all sitting in the same data center, interconnecting to each other and creating this cloud-based ecosystems. From there, if you go all the way to the right, we started seeing digital businesses, which companies who started using the cloud, who started relying on apps that run on the cloud, who started relying on content that sits on the cloud, putting their back office systems on the cloud, putting their mission critical applications to the cloud. So the enterprises, the organizations started coming to the play. So suddenly you started seeing this interconnection ecosystem where everybody's interconnecting to everyone, and it's all happening within the data center. Why? Because it's the most efficient, most secure way of doing it. So we started connectivity effectively collapsing within the data center, everybody doing their connectivity needs within the data center, almost turning their networks upside down. So that's kind of how all this started and how it's leading to now what we are seeing. The next layer is the automation and virtualization, which is you are seeing all these connections happening with APIs, happening with automation, and computers talking to each other versus we are interfering as humans, I suppose. But what this did is basically what we started as scaling the internet led to a major interconnection hubs and digital hubs in our data center, which led to creating really vibrant ecosystems in our data centers. So if we go from there to the next slide, of course, this all this business creating these vibrant ecosystems with all the interconnection needs for everyone required a lot of investment along the way. We had to build our ecosystems, we have to build our presence, and on that way, you can see that the amount of effort and investment that went into growing Equinix business globally. A lot of acquisitions, consolidations, of course, happen on the way, but this was all to help to build this the neutral ecosystem where everyone can do business with everyone, everyone can interconnect to everyone. So this is just to give you the scale. Right now, I think we started about 49,000 cross connects. This was back in 2010. Now, or interconnects, I should call it, not just cross connects anymore. Now we are at 383,000 interconnects in our data center. These are 383,000 connections where businesses connect to each other, doing private data exchange and doing private interconnection. This could be via cross connect or via where I'm going to talk later, Internet Exchange platform or Equinix Cloud Exchange platform, but it's all about all the businesses, the clouds, the networks, everything together to each other. And of course, the building of these vibrant ecosystems and the interconnection digital super hubs required us to look at this globally, required us to offer a uniform choice for our customers, a uniform offering globally. So here you can see Equinix is a global company with 200 plus data centers around the world. And this all this does is enables our customers to interconnect anywhere and to interconnect anyone. That's the main idea. And what this does is helps our customers to go and design their networks closer to their customer, what we call the edge platform, which is bringing your platform as close to your customer as possible, or bringing your platform as close to your data as possible. So anyways, this basically, from Equinix point of view, we are global, and we want, our goal was to offer this interconnection density globally, which is what's happening here. Moving on from there, again, what we achieve right now is these super rich, vibrant, diverse ecosystems with service providers, with enterprises, all interconnecting via securely via Equinix platform. And here you can see again, you know, what providers are kind of what share they have in our data centers. Networks are still one of the highest, and clouds are, of course, overtaking networks right now. And then enterprises are following now as the biggest growth because enterprises are more and more moving their on-prem equipment into their data center with the idea of interconnection, connecting to the clouds, networks, content within a data center, and digitizing their business. All this, of course, you know, I already mentioned it's driving digital transformation. What we mean by that is, again, more and more organizations, they're digitizing their business, they're virtualizing their business, they're changing the way they do business effectively. The business flows has changed, the way we interact with our customers have changed, the way we gather data and how we analyze that data has changed. So it's all under the umbrella of digital transformation. You might have heard it a lot these days, but the idea is, digitizing as much as possible, virtualizing as much as possible, and making all this happening within these interconnection super hubs, which, our data centers, of course, are a prime example for that. So from here, I just put this slide as again showing these how these interconnection super hubs are growing and creating these massive digital interconnection exchanges. This is just a slide to give you a feel for it, but we are talking about 283,000 interconnections right now in our data centers that's happening. So the scale is massive. I think this is the point of the slide. The scale of the interconnection and what's happening in the digital space is massive. So from there, what all this is supporting is the modern digital enterprise architecture. What that means, in a nutshell, basically, traditionally your IT would be a support organization enabling your business. Now you have your modern enterprise IT architecture that sits in the middle of your business. Literally, your IT, your network and IT architecture defines the way you do business, defines the way you interact with your customer, defines how you compete with your competition and how you gain advantage against your competition. So that's kind of where things are heading. From the traditional IT, where we had an IT department supporting, doing different things, now IT sits in the middle. It impacts the way we do business, and it interacts with all the organizations within the business. So I already touched to this few times. Of course, interconnection best practices. This is our core. This is our bread and butter nowadays. We are not just a data center company. We are an interconnection company, and we preach interconnection best practices. What this means, again, interconnecting our customers in the best possible way, providing the best experience, the easiest way to interconnect, easiest way to automate their interconnection, easiest way to create their connections to the cloud, virtualizing their business, digitizing their business. So that's our goal, offering interconnection best practices to enable our customers, like yourselves, to digitize their business and gaining competitive advantage. And of course, what this is leading to more and more, what we call interconnection first architecture. On the left, you see a traditional kind of a MPLS network-based enterprise architecture. On the right, you see an interconnection first architecture, which is more distributed, closer on the edge, closer to the customer, closer to the data, and it's self-contained. So you create these pods of self-contained edge nodes in, of course, in a data center somewhere where they have these rich ecosystems. And you create a new interconnection and a network architecture model effectively. So your traditional MPLS is transforming into something, a distributed, self-contained architecture, network architecture. So that's, again, something we help our customers during their network designs when they're looking at, how they do their businesses these days, how they do digital transformation, how they re-architect their networks. Again, the goal is cost savings, efficiency, performance, latency, data residency. All these things come into play when you start talking about these things. And we have in-house consultants who help with these kind of discussions. And of course, this is all leads to what we are more and more focusing on, is what we are calling ourselves is platform Equinix, which means it's not just about the data center. It's not just about one, exchange or one platform. It is platform Equinix, which enables all the things that's happening right now for our customers to do it in our data center. That could be connecting to the cloud. That could be virtualizing your network. It could be connecting to your customers, partners. Our goal is to give you a platform where you can achieve your business goals, to enable you to do your business effectively. We are still an enabler. We are still neutral, but we want to enable you to do your business most effectively. And what we call, I guess, some of the key pillars of this interconnection or platform Equinix is our what we call Equinix Cloud Exchange Fabric and our Equinix Internet Exchange platform. These usually work hand in hand, and we don't necessarily differentiate it as much these days. As far as we are concerned, is for our customers to connect to networks, to connect to content, to connect to the clouds. So these are the two pillars, which I'm going to talk a little bit more around Equinix Cloud Exchange Fabric first, and then a little bit about Equinix Internet Exchange. So Equinix Cloud Exchange Fabric, if we move on, this is our main interconnection platform. It is I guess availability point of view, we already talked about it is globally available pretty much in all Equinix data centers. It is software defined based on SDN networking, which means it's all automated. It's all portal based. You can go on a portal and provision services, virtually real-time connectivity services. So that's the real-time provisioning. It's private, which means you can privately connect to your suppliers, vendors, clouds, networks. You can connect to your own infrastructure. So we expanded our capabilities. Initially, this cloud exchange fabric was enabling connectivity within a metro. Now it enables connectivity globally. So you could go online on a portal and set up a connection from London to New York and start doing your business, connect to your partner in New York, or connect to your own infrastructure. Or it could be across UK. You can connect from Manchester to London, literally real time, just on a platform using automation and a software portal. And connect to another ECX participant. Again, this could be anyone really. So it is, I guess what we are kind of emphasizing is our platform is not just connecting to the cloud, it's actually connecting to anyone, anywhere, and enabling your business. And again, the beauty of this is it's software based, it's virtualized, it's real time, it's on demand. You can turn this on and off whenever you want. And it's a cloudified connectivity and interconnection platform. So kind of how does it work? Very briefly, the customer usually ends up buying a port from Equinix. We are pre-connected, pre-integrated on the supply side to all the clouds, all the network service providers. So what this means is as soon as you get a port, it could be in the form of a 1 gig or a 10 gig port. Once your port is live, everything is software based. You create virtual connections to the clouds, to yourself, to networks, you name it, I guess, is the possibility. There are different speeds. These speeds are customizable, so you can do 50 meg, 100 meg, 200 meg. You can set your own private profile for people to connect to you. So if you have customers who wants to connect to you, you can set up a profile yourself and you act like a cloud service provider or a service provider. You enable your customers to set up a 10 meg connection to you using a virtual connection. So those are the possibilities. This is just an overview of what it looks like. Physically, once everything is set up, everything is software based, everything what we call virtual circuits, virtual connections. And you can go from 50 meg to 10 gig, no problems, and this across the globe effectively within a metro or within metros in Europe or even across in the regions. Some of the typical use cases that we are seeing, of course, on the cloud exchange is customers more and more looking to consume multiple clouds. So what we have realized is initially what started as, cloud, everybody said, is it for real? So the cloud was real. Then customers started using the cloud. Then they realized that there are multiple clouds. Then they realized that these clouds each has their own niche strengths and weaknesses. And they started realizing that I'm not going to just rely on one cloud. I need multiple clouds. They also realize that not everything is going to happen on the cloud. It's going to be more of a hybrid solution. I might need my own local storage connecting to the cloud, or I might need to connect the clouds. So anyways, these all are the possibilities, multiple clouds using virtual software-based connections. Cloud redundancy, more and more as we see customers putting their mission critical applications on the cloud. The next question became security and redundancy. So again, with Equinix Cloud Exchange, you can set redundant connections across cities, across regions, countries. So basically, it gives you the cloud redundant options to connect to the cloud. So you don't limit yourself to one location, one city, or one connection. Reach your full ecosystem. So full ecosystem this is already covered. I covered it. You can connect to anyone on Equinix Cloud Exchange. So you can connect from London to Amsterdam, to a customer, to a vendor, to a partner, to yourself. You can connect your own infrastructure across regions, across metros. Connect to your own footprint. Again, I covered this. So this is, again, being able to create virtual connections to anyone from anywhere. Where is it? This is just a coverage. Pretty much all of our data centers are going to have a cloud exchange. We are expanding our cloud exchange fabric platform globally. So this is what we have right now. We are adding new locations in Europe, but we are, so the latest one is Warsaw that we just added, that went live. We are going to go live in Madrid next month. And then the other locations as well will be eventually added to the map for Cloud Exchange Fabric. So we do have data centers at these locations, but not all of them are connected to the fabric, but we are working on that as well. Here you can see the connectivity on the fabric. So the final goal is to connect everything to each other. So we already have 80 to 90% of this covered, but we are working on now connecting regions, EMEA to Americas, EMEA to APAC. Again, this is to enable our customers to connect to their customers, to connect to their partners, and they can do this virtually. They can do this on demand. They can turn on and connection and off to Singapore overnight if they need something. If they want to connect to someone, they can launch a new service in Singapore and see how it goes, and virtually, and then they can decide if they want to be there. So all these options. I guess the idea here is a lot of connectivity options, everything virtualized and on demand. This network virtualization, again, we are adding a new functionality to the fabric, which you can create virtual network components. This will be available before end of this year. So once you're on our ECX Fabric portal, you will have an option to say, I would like to fire up a virtual router in somewhere in the world. So you already have your network, say here. You want to create a virtual connection, virtual network in another location. You create a virtual router. You download it to an Equinix platform, which an NFV platform, and you are up and running. You have a routing, you have a network connection there. You use the ECX Fabric, and you create, effectively extended your network to a new location, to a new region, just using virtual components. I just wanted to bring this up as well, because I think it's powerful. We have a lot of customers interested in it. And this is all extending the SD-WAN capability, basically the software and virtualized networking capabilities for our customers. Again, we are still neutral. You still go to Cisco, buy a network, virtualized network components. We only provide you the platform to run it, and you can use that to connect your customers, to extend your own networks, to connect clouds to each other. So you can connect, say, Azure to Oracle. Say you have your databases on Oracle. You want to connect to the Azure cloud. You can do this across virtualized. You create a virtual router here. It could be Cisco, it could be Juniper, or whatever your provider is. You buy a license, you download it, and basically everything is pre-connected. So you create virtual connections from Azure to Oracle Cloud. So for customer migrations, it could be that you put your front end to AWS cloud, you put your backend on Oracle cloud, and you can connect them to each other. So that's kind of the power that I want to mention that in this webinar as well. The number of cloud service providers or network service providers available on Cloud Exchange, this is just a limited list. I wanted to give you an idea of what we have. This is all online. You can go and check interactively who's available, who's not. But we have pretty much most of the networks in the world, most of the clouds in the world, you can connect to them using the Cloud Exchange platform. Now, of course, we also have some companies like SAP, putting their own services on there. So again, there's a lot of activity there. It's all dynamic. We also have security companies offering security as a service. We have customers who are offering testing as a service, so you can test your networks using their services, just using connectivity on ECX. So anyways, the options are great there. Just have a look when you have time, or if you're interested to see what the availability is. These are some case studies, some major customers who relied on the fabric to effectively redesign their network. Like I mentioned earlier, they went for a distributed edge architecture. They redesigned their network. What they achieved in the end, they get much more bandwidth, lower cost, and much better latency. Again, this is a major customer of Equinix, and there's some description on there what they wanted to solve and how they solved it, and it's all based on the Equinix Cloud Exchange fabric. Again, another customer case study. Again, it's the same idea: reducing latency, lower cost points, pushing to throughput, increasing throughput. So again, these guys use the Equinix Cloud Exchange fabric to solve their challenges. And again, the savings and converting from CapEx model to OpEx, all the good things that come with cloudifying or digitizing your service that they managed to achieve. A little bit around Equinix Internet Exchange. Equinix Internet Exchange and Cloud Exchange work hand in hand. Internet Exchange is more the traditional connecting networks to each other, but again, we are seeing different uses of Internet Exchange these days. It's also becoming more automated, like Cloud Exchange Fabric. It is so. Just wanted to give you a quick overview of that as well. Mainly a peering platform. Equinix. I guess here the private peering via cross connects, you can see what it is, and then public peering usually happens on Equinix IX platform. For us, again, it's interconnection. So you connect via cross connect or a shared public internet exchange platform. But we have some key top content providers on the IX platform, and top networks on our IX platform, which means from customer point of view, once you're in an Equinix data center, the idea is you have options. You have all the networks, you get the best price. You have all the clouds, you get the best price, best connectivity. So again, with the IX, the idea is to bring all the networks and all the content on our shared platform, depending on the use case. This is basically the benefits of using an internet exchange. You can get private public peering options. You reduce network hops, congestion, latency, cost. If you're familiar with internet exchanges, these are some of the traditional values you get out of it. But the evolution of internet exchange now is we are seeing new use cases on internet exchanges. We are seeing like an example use case would be a connected vehicle or self-driving vehicles. How do you manage to exchange data when these cars are driving around and make that latency effective, performance effective. Again, these are some of the new use cases. Mobile payments platforms. We are seeing some new use cases that started looking at IXs and internet exchanges and how they use them and how we serve their needs, I guess, is our concern, making sure that our platforms are relevant and solving the problems and use cases of the customers are that they're looking at. Again, here you can get 1 gig, 10 gig, and 100 gig ports. Same with the Cloud Exchange. We are introducing 100 gig ports next year. Right now, we don't have 100 gig yet. You can set up private VLANs to other networks. It's a shared platform, the Internet Exchange platform. You can do multilateral peering on the platform, and you can do black holing solutions. Again, availability-wise, our goal is to have a Cloud Exchange fabric and an Internet Exchange platform pretty much in all our data centers, and we are deploying more and more the Internet Exchange around the globe to make it available and uniform for our customers from customer experience point of view and connectivity point of view. The customers can connect to anyone, anywhere point of view. On that note, I think that's all I have. We will have Q&A later. I hope that was useful. Amy, are you still there?
Thanks, Dirench. It's Matt here, so I'm with Amy. So just to cover off where Bytes fit in the whole piece. So hopefully you'll be consuming some of your public cloud services with Bytes today. So Bytes are a huge Microsoft Azure partner in the UK, just under 40% of market share for Azure sales to UK and wider. So big market share due to our capabilities to help optimize public cloud environments. We have also a dedicated AWS team. So we have a lot of credibility across the larger infrastructure as a service players, the Azures, the Googles, Oracles, IBM, and AWS. But really where this service comes into its own is when we start looking at across your SaaS platforms and the other technologies that you're looking outside of those and providing you a centralized hub to connect all of those different services from one management port rather than multiple MPLS routes that you may have across different services. So when we look at the likes of Salesforce and SAP and potentially other Mimecast, Box, Workday and other SaaS applications that you're using, that's when this service really champions. So as a sort of call to action or follow-up, it would be really good for us to understand the number of different SaaS platforms that you are currently providing and help you understand if this would plug into all or most of those technologies or services that you're providing and provide you with a centralized hub. That's a piece of work that we're more than happy to work with you on the back of this webinar. So that's just to wrap it up really. So thank you for joining. I hope you found it useful. On the right hand side, you'll see a questions box. So if there is any questions, please pop them in now and either myself or Dirench pick you up and I'll be able to answer them. And then also you can see on the screen our tell me more at bytes.co.uk email address. So if there is anything that you want us to go into more detail or as a follow-up, then please drop an email to that address and someone will come back to you as soon as possible. So we'll just give it 30 seconds or so to see if any questions come in, and if not, we'll leave you to get on with your days. Okay, great. So obviously Dirench has given you all the information that oh, sorry, there's a question just come in before I close it up. So is it consultancy and help with the setup of Bytes, or do you run your own service in Equinix? So I can pick up that question. So there's a couple of options. So you can have access to the platform yourself and manage that internally, or we can offer it as a managed service. So it can be consumed as you wish. So yeah, I'm more than happy to follow up with you on that, Glenn, and go into a bit more detail. Okay, great. So that close our webinar today. So thank you all for joining. I hope you found it useful and more importantly relevant. And as I said, if you do have any further questions, then drop an email through to tellmemore@bytes.co.uk email address. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.